god of Smash 4, and what we're seeing now is that this god can bleed, which definitely livens the hopes and spirits of a lot of these up-and-comers. And also worth noting is, in his absence, we have seen other folks actually take the crown and take the title at several massive events, and one of those people is actually sitting next to Zero at this very moment.
Is. And Abadango taking home Pound 2016, where Zero was notably absent, but I don't think these guys have played ever.
You know, they may have had some history previously, but you might actually be right there. I didn't do my homework and figure out exactly what their tournament record is. From what I was doing with my quick interview with Zero, he mentioned that he felt like he was coming out on top for most of the friendlies that they played, but he knows that Abadango plays so much more intense in tournament.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, while it might be a showing or maybe a foretelling on how the friendlies went, in tournament anything honestly goes. And let's talk about what everyone has on the line here for Zero, especially after that loss to Anti. He is on this massive stage here to prove that he is still, without a doubt, the best player in the world. And Abadango is here to prove that it doesn't matter whether or not Zero is here. He's still going to come out on top at one of these tournaments. But let's do this.
Okay,
Game number 1 between Abadango and Zero, winners semis at Smash and Splash 2016.
Just got the intel that these guys have indeed played before. It was at EVO, and of course Zero came out victorious, being that he didn't drop a set there. But things have changed, man. Mewtwo has seen many buffs. Abadango has picked up Mewtwo, and Diddy Kong, still pretty much the same character that he was at EVO. I don't believe he's changed at all.
Yeah, and speaking with Zero beforehand, he said he felt much more confident Diddy versus Mewtwo rather than Sheik versus Mewtwo, primarily because Shadow Ball shuts off Sheik's projectile game pretty heavily. I mean, it eats up most of the damage, so maybe Abadango would take a needle and Zero would take something like a ridiculous amount of percent.
Exactly, that full charge Shadow Ball does so much, and wow, Abadango caught just laying on the ground from the banana trip. Gonna lose his first stock in less than a minute here. Still nothing he can't salvage though.
You know, I definitely look at these sort of matchups and I try to figure out who's doing well based on how many knockdowns that Peel has gotten. And Zero is demonstrating that while Abadango may have some great kill setups, because he's playing such a light character, if he gets knocked down by the Peel in the triple digits, his stock is done.
Yeah, that's how it should be, man. If you're not converting off of those banana peels, 1, you're probably not as good as Zero, and 2, you're definitely not going to take down Abadango.
Certainly not. Abadango, with all that being said, and given the caliber of player Abadango is, he's really struggling here. I mean, he did have some mishaps in the Midwest about a month ago.
Very true.
But I don't want to give it up to pure location as to why he's not really putting much of a dent in Zero right now.
I think this matchup is quite tough. We actually saw Leap of Faith Blue take Zero dangerously close to get on my level, but I think now that Zero's kind of got his hands on this matchup a little bit more, now that Mewtwo has kind of hit the mainstream, he's been doing his homework and figuring this out. Oh, down tilt to up smash, not going to do it though.
Yeah, unlike in other iterations of Smash, Mewtwo is actually not a floaty character in this. That's why the up smash was an AKO option there.
I think he's still floating.
No, he's closer to average actually.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. Now, there's this really great tweet longer that this Mewtwo main, I believe from Wisconsin, wrote on how to beat Mewtwo. I think he wrote it right after Abadango won because he knew there was going to be an influx of new Mewtwo's, as he called it.
Oh, was that Sparky who wrote that?
Possibly.
Or he might be from Michigan. But either way.
Let's reflect on that last match for a second, Max. What was it that was the deciding factor that made that game so dominant?
I think Abadango was hitting Zero's shield just a little bit too much, and also he wasn't using the banana to his own advantage. That's one thing I feel like a lot of players are kind of scared to do against Diddy Kong players. Just grab that banana, fight with your special moves, or even do Z-drop into aerials. And that's something that so many people just haven't rehearsed and don't even think to do. But Abadango, now he's got it in his hands. He's got that Shadow Ball, like 90% charged. Oh, but he drops it. That's pretty rare. You don't really see many item drops as a result of being hit in this game.
Exactly. And taking on, again, so much damage. I'm loving the way that Zero is covering that ledge, preventing Abadango from getting that sweet spot. He took out so much damage during that entire course, and we're seeing a lot of the same of what we saw in game number 1.
And there we go, a pivot grab picking up that whiffed side B from Zero. That's the downfall of so many Diddy Kong players. They tend to rely on that monkey flip just a little bit too much, and their opponents are always scouting that out, being that it's such a versatile move.
Abadango landing that Shadow Ball and getting the knockdown
There
as
we
well.
go.
What a conversion from Abadango, and that's the double-edged sword aspect of that banana peel. It can be used against you, so having that proper item control is so integral in this matchup.
What I tell you, JB. He picks that banana up, starts doing some B-reverse Shadow Ball charges to bait the approach from Zero. Oh, you're coming in. Shield cancel, throw it. Bam, free stock, but a free one for Zero as well. Again, trapping Abadango in the corner.
As both of those stocks illustrated, it's all about the knockdowns in this matchup.
Absolutely. If you get that banana into pretty much anything, Mewtwo is just such a combo-friendly character. You can easily just down tilt into whatever, up throw into anything, and you can keep it going. Diddy has that very Vortex-like nature where once you get one knockdown and once you get one grab, you can really take that for a long time.
You know, one of the most intriguing aspects of this matchup to me is the Shadow Ball, because even when Abadango doesn't use it, it's almost a force that makes Zero approach.
Absolutely, and Abadango will very rarely fully charge it because it still affords him the luxury of B-reversing and mixing up his landing when he still has a little bit of charging to do.
Ooh, but he's not going to be landing anytime soon. Another great conversion off of the peel. One more of those and Abadango's done for.
Brilliant, using the teleport to get down to the ledge, avoiding a juggle situation.
Wow. He knows the spacing around that down tilt. He needs to get around it.
Yeah, Mewtwo's own down tilt outranges Diddy Kong's too, which is a pretty rare attribute. You don't see a lot of characters just straight up able to cut through that. Oh, and Zero
cutting through that. Oh my God, that jinx. Someone owes me a Coke.
We got water on deck.
Yeah, it's
all we got.
It's better for the chords anyways.
Most certainly.
Much closer showing from Abadango. He definitely got a lot of momentum, taking control of the peel, getting the knockdown, and getting that beautiful conversion. But also towards the end of that match, we saw maybe some of the ways where Zero could possibly lose this match. If he's not quick enough to close the game out, then that's when Abadango gets extremely dangerous, especially when you combine Rage with just how strong that forward air is from Mewtwo.
Yeah, the character is loaded with kill power. If you're letting him live any longer than he should be, it could look real ugly for you. But, I don't know, Zero seems to have a solid handle on Mewtwo, which is interesting because I feel like he doesn't have much hands-on experience against this matchup. Not many people do, but maybe he plays Rich Brown in SoCal every now and then.
You know, it's certainly possible. The biggest surprise for me is that we haven't seen the arms race yet, because both of these players have a deep variety of characters that they can choose from.
Yeah, I think Abadango is going to stick to Mewtwo, though. I mean, this is really his last stand to do so anyway, but were he going to switch, I think we would have seen possibly Pac-Man, who I know he's been playing a little bit more recently to deal with some problem matchups from Mewtwo.
I mean, he has the Rosalina, the Meta Knight. He has so many different characters, and that's it's one of the big reasons that makes this player so very dangerous.
And it's definitely a showcase of his vast talent, too, to be able to play so many characters at a tournament level.
But as talented as he is, he's again finding himself at the deficit, trying to figure out a way to get back into this game, but he's just going to eat an up smash instead. That was the perfect retort to Abadango's approach up back onto the stage.
Yeah, Zero definitely catching on to Mewtwo's tendency to just jump and go for that very gimmicky air dodge because he has so much aerial mobility. It's really hard to chase that, but he realized Abadango likes to do that. There we go again. Double jump air dodge onto the stage, and it cost him a stock last time, so I'm hoping Abadango realizes the error of his ways, starts changing something up, but Zero just looks so in control right now.
Yeah, even when it looks like he's missing a tech chase, he's still there to pick up the slack and continue the punishment.
Speaking of missing, Abadango fired that Shadow Ball right in Zero's face, but because of the way Monkey Flip puts Diddy Kong into landing lag, he actually crouched underneath it, which was kind of sad to see. I feel like Abadango could have picked up some serious momentum from that.
No, definitely. I was about to ask if he just Roy-zoned a projectile, and that would have been a talking point, to say the least. Abadango going for the Shadow Ball there. A bit of a wild play, to say the least, but maybe not as committal as other options would have been.
He's got that banana, but it might be too little too late. Zero doesn't even really need it to do enough damage to get Abadango to kill percents now. And of course, that raw up smash, always a threat, especially if Abadango keeps doing double jump air dodges. There we go, mixes it up with the confusion.
Ooh, but again, Zero was so good at preventing Abadango from landing, especially in those last two stocks of those last two games.
And you don't really see Abadango get blown out like that so often. That was really, really tough for him. 3-0, honestly, like that felt like a best of 3 speed in terms of how fast that set went.
It really did. And while Zero had his doubts, because friendlies only means